see, this is the cloth weaver. Right from the inception, the African people have never moved undressed. Before the advent of the white people, of the English people, our women were already using the loom to create fabrics from fiber. And that is exactly what is going on now. So Professor Victor Wifo has actually gone through the issues of what has been on over the years by executing them in the 2 or 3 dimensional forms.
I think I love this. You can see the expression immediately. Really, the woman is standing up.
Yes.
By reading. So natural. That's
it.
Yes.
Slavery started in 1630 and ended in 1865. The slave trade began those years, and at this time it was a terrible moment for the West Africans. Most of them that were exported down to the New World, they died on the way. Millions and millions of them died. In fact, human beings were used as commodities. You can see them. And at the sugarcane plantation, the mouths were padlocked so that they would not have a taste of the sugarcane they were planting. Because it is believed that the soul and the spirit of the ancestors are embedded here. Therefore, all over the world, the Beninese have been able to give correct answer and interpretation to the sociologist word called ethnology. Here in Benin, when a child wakes up in the morning, he does not say good morning to the parents. We have over 52 coded salutations. A child wakes up to say Lamokun, the Lahe. So the child that comes up to say good morning sir, good morning ma, is touted as being rude. Are you getting the point? And every clan that is large family group has what they call family head or kaigbe. Those kagbes are entitled to the staff. The Christians believe that the mediator between God and man is Christ. Is it not so? You cannot go to God Almighty except you have to go through Christ. Invariably, the Beninese believe that the way to go to Sanoba Nogodwa, the way he will answer your prayers, to go through the ancestors. They believe so much. Having been translated into the spirit realm, they believe that they will have a better understanding of Osanoba Nogodwa, who himself is a supreme being. That is the essence of it.
What about this? Is this a drunkard or what? Or the priest?
Oh yeah. You know what the priest want to do. So he's sitting down there meditating. So, and also sipping from his keg of palm wine. This one is the skeleton. You can see the skeleton. It portrays hopelessness. So we believe that in the face of hopelessness there's hope. Behind every dark cloud there's a silver lining. It does not matter what you're passing through, but God in His infinite mercy prevails. When He prevails, all things will pass away and all things will become new. In fact, remember, Oba Esige conquered Eko, the modern day Lagos. So the tentacles of the Benin Kingdom extends down to Eko, the present day Lagos, down to Dahomey, Republic of Benin, to mention but few. In the time of Oba Ewa the Great, he conquered over 201 towns and villages, including Kukuruku and Ikare. So the Benin Kingdom has always been very, very great. The Osogan actually emerged during the first dynasty. The Beninese have witnessed so far 2 dynasties. The first dynasty were spearheaded by Ogisos, Ogenokisore, the kings from the sky. And the last Ogiso was Owodo. After the banishment of Owodo, the man who took over the helm of affair was Evian, the son, the father of Ogiame, because administration can never be in vacuum. That actually necessitated the appointment of Evian to serve as acting administrator that time when we still had Ogiso. And then it was that time, the period that Osogan actually, this mysterious monster called Osogan emerged like a dinosaur. It was found killing people at its overhill, especially women on market days. At that time, the kingdom of Igodo Mikodo, as the land was called, previously called, in fact, shook everyone was afraid. But it eventually took the heroic effort of Ogiamie, the son of Evian, to dislodge it. From the distance, it threw a spear that pierced through the heart down to the other side, and Osogan died. The way it happened, he became an instant hero, and who had eye for the throne. And when Oromio came, when he came down from Oduduwa, the Yorubas call him Oduduwa, when he sent his son to eventually take over, because Ogiamie already had eye for the throne, he fought him. But the man who had the royal blood defeated him. That actually became a trademark. To date it has done. Every coronation, before the overseas on the throne, there's the usual battle at the Kilpara. It still stands. It happened during that time.
Will you want to say that this occasion is different from the popular Aroan Kerezi? I think.
Oh, no, that's a different.
Pull down.
No, Aroan, and that was still, we are talking about 1550 AD. That was a more recent one when we had the second dynasty. 1550, that's the 16th century. That was when Aroan and Esigi, remember? Aroan was supposed to be king, according to history, because of the few minutes gap between them. They were born the same day, actually. But it was Esigi's birth that was first announced at the palace. And so they penciled him down as the re-appearing to the throne. But all the fight that Aroan fought was in vain. Never materialized. So this one had to do with Jeremy. I'm sure he told you the story about Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy.
He told you, yes. This is Ubugemi who actually fought against Jeremy. Hey, one affair, Jeremy means my brother Jeremy, you're getting too over ambitious for me. You fought every Dick and Harry and defeated all of them. But right now, this one is different. Don't fight the fire. You cannot fight. But once more, Jeremy turned deaf ears. He fought. And for the first time, he witnessed the bitter peace of death. He died. But the sister quickly spotted the leaf that had life in it. She plucked it and subsequently applies the juice on the 5 senses of his brother, who regained consciousness. This time he was no longer ready to fight. He began to race back to the earth. And when the 7-headed spirit would not let him go, pursued him. When they got to the breach between hell and earth, as Jeremy was going to cross to the other side, Ubugemi was too close. As he stretched out his hands to pick him from the back, fortunately for Jeremy and unfortunately for him, it was just on one of the fingers that ran down the back. So those of us in this part of the world, we believe that the encounter that Jeremy had with Ubugemi is the cause of this grief that all of us have behind us today. So if you go to the upper palace and you cannot see him there, you can come here comfortably and say about about his doctorate. His second degree. So he did all these exhibitions, part of his exhibitions for the second. Yes. So look at some of the costumes that he used on stage. You can see it was good that you actually came here. That's him live. He invented a double neck guitar. I don't know if he told you.
Yes.
This was the first guitar that he played at the age of 12. The first acoustic English guitar. That's the guitar. And then the one you were talking about, that is he calls this one the magical wonder guitar. A compromise between the keyboard and the strings. You can see that. So he's at the verge of getting the patent right of this particular one. This is, apart from himself as a great man, he also acknowledges the greatness of
let me use this one. It's fine.
So let us see now what's going to happen. Who's this ability? Whenever a drink has involved such that helps us to put up at once, the other was for human sacrifice. A female was given to appease the god of rain, human sacrifice. A male was given to appease the god of the sun, Another historical landmark in Benin is this. Those days, whenever any man was found guilty, perhaps of treasonable felony, or such a man was found divulging the secrets of the kingdom, the Oba will ask him to go home and commit suicide. If he failed to do that at night, he will send his CNO, that is the king's executioners. They will take him away, cut off his head, and spill the blood to the gods. We're going to find all this historical landmark in a place that we call the City of Blood. We're going to walk down this tunnel. Let us go. So let's say there's a flat sacrifice to the god of rain, sacrifice to the god of sun. There was a secret of the kingdom, and so he died by hanging. But he refused. But you can see what happened to him. This is where we call the City of Blood. You commit a suicide. Why?
Congratulations. The entire people of Echerovie, Uye Kingdom rejoice with our royal father, His Royal Majesty Dr. Emmanuel Ekemejewa Sideso
JPOON.
Abel I, the Ovie of Uye Kingdom, was elected chairman of traditional rulers of oil-producing communities of Nigeria, Tropcom, Delta State Chapter. Our royal father, we, the people of Echerovie, believe that you will use your position as chairman of Tropcom to further attract more development to the oil-producing communities. Umogu, may God give you the wisdom to pilot the affairs of Tropcom. We use this medium to appeal to members of Tropcom to give the Ovie of Uye Kingdom the necessary support and cooperation to take Tropcom to greater heights. We also thank the traditional rulers for electing our royal father as chairman of Tropcom. Once again, congratulations to the Ovie of Uye Kingdom, chairman, Tropcom Delta State Chapter. Signed, Chief Sunday Agbubu, the Unuaro of Echerovie.
Only congratulations, this papi tell me my life. Only congratulations.
My people, Papa, Mama, again, make una hear this message. Make we join hands with the government when they fight against human trafficking to say no to human trafficking. All those people when they say work and school day abroad, now lie you. Now to deceive our pikin them, turn them to ashawo, sell them as house boys and house girls, and commot their liver and kidney to sell for market like malu. Human trafficking na serious offense. Now he make our Ogbonge governor, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, put leg for Grand Gidigba, come set up the state task force, come they bring una disinformate. Make una report any kurukere movement of human trafficking to the state task force on 0806 032 5910, 0815 557 5495 or NAPTIP on 0802 294 0088. My people, make we join hands to fight this yeye business for Delta State. Now Peter Mrakpo, the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, when he be the chairman of the State Task Force on Human Trafficking, bring una this message.
Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo sues for synergy among three tiers of government to address Nigerians' challenges. Delta State Local Government Service Commission calls for effective service delivery for functional local government system. State government commissions 10 greenhouses for improved vegetable farming. Abroad, Australian man gets jail terms for molesting 8-year-old child. A very good evening and welcome to the Drtv main news. I am Ifoma Nkemacho. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, has called for the partnership and collaboration of the three tiers of government in identifying and addressing the challenges facing the nation. Vice President Oshibanjo made a call while declaring open the 18th Joint Planning Board and National Council on Development Planning meeting held in Asaba, the state's capital. Government House correspondent Miriam Weke fathered the report presented from our studio. The report we brought to you in the course of the bulletin. The Delta State Governor, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, will on Tuesday, 15th October 2019, inaugurate the chairman and members of the Delta State Advisory and Peace Building Council. A statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Drtv, listed members of the council to include Professor Sam Oyewari as chairman, Chief Benjamin Elue, Professor Amos Otwama, Prince Sam Obi, Chief Chris Agugu, Alawi Broderick Buzimo, Brigadier General B. Damayibu, Chief Mike Adetrome, Chief Ignatius Agidi, Chief Egono, Mr. John Nwadi Meji, Senator Stella Omu, Mr. Paul Enebeli, Senator Patrick Osakwe, Dr. F. Nwezi, Dr. Pius Senebe, Chief Joseph Ejeba, Chief Eddie Shore, and Dr. Esther Udwei as members. Others are Chief E.D.O. Obafukuru, Dr. Robert Ejifoma, Pa John Ede, Chief Roland Rushejafo, Chief E. Ebimami, Chief Judith Enamoto, Reverend Gideon Oyibo, Mr. Joseph Ekena, Chief Dennis Etaluku, Professor Sam Okala, Chief Jonathan Uyeri, Chief Samuel Okoro, Mrs. Felicia Ajagu, Chief Tiozora Giwamu, Mrs. Felicia Sani, Reverend Akokotu, Elder Ayo Odometa, Chief Emmanuel Okumagwa, Rear Admiral Mike Honor, Chief Margaret Unukego, Chief Grace Boyo, Right Reverend Justus Mogeku. The statement adds that the inauguration ceremony will take place at Unity Hall, Old Government House, Asaba, at 9 o'clock in the morning. The statement adds that invited guests are to be seated by 8:30 in the morning for the ceremony. The chairman of Delta State Local Government Service Commission, Dr. Joseph Utire, says effective service delivery is the key for a viral and functional local government system. Dr. Utire, who said this during his familiarization tour to Okpe, Saple, and Uwe local government areas, urged council staff to be committed to their duties so that those at the grassroots will feel their impact. The reports.
The chairman of Delta State Local Government Service Commission, Dr. Joseph Utire, accompanied by members of the commission, were at Okwe, Uwe, and Saple local governments for an interactive meeting with the head of personnel management and staff of the councils. Dr. Utire told the staff of the three councils that the aim of his visit was to rub minds with them and know their challenges with a view to meeting them. He noted that local government is the closest arm of government to the grassroots, so it is expected to play significant roles in providing social services to the people in order to improve their standard of living. Dr. Utire stressed that the only way the people will feel the impact of local government is through effective service delivery, which can be possible through a varied local government service system. He charged council staff to be dedicated to their duties and shun all forms of corrupt practice. Dr. Otirwe noted that the State Local Government Service Commission under the Okowa administration will work hard to ensure councils live up to their expectations.
Lateness to work is also a crime. Because of the new system that is being adopted by state governments, most people, just as the hunter, as they say, plan to shoot without missing. So also the birds are planning to fly without testing. So most times these days, when they clock in the morning by 8:30, they go out. When it is 3:30, they come back to clock. That is not so good for the system because we got a report in Asaba. So anyone that finds himself in that kind of act, by doing himself, please try and benefit from it.
The heads of personnel management of Okwe, Saple and Uwe councils, as well as sub-staff of the councils, called for improved conditions of service and restated their commitment to the discharge of their duties.
That the non-payment of salary, as at today, the salary for September has been paid.
We're also having a problem with this promotion areas.
Dr. Tire also met with the chairman of Saple Council, Chief Eugene Unaga, Ubie, Mr. Ramsey Onoyake, and Okwe, Chief Julius Jisa Scott, where he charged them to give priority to the welfare of council staff to enhance their productivity. The three council chairmen commended Dr. Tire for the interactive meeting and promised to provide all necessary incentives to motivate staff of the council.
The administration will work together as a team, and work together as a team, teamwork to get the best from it.
With you and the commission, I believe things will work well for you and the people in council.
I would want the commission to stay there in talking to the staff.
The visit of Dr. Tire to councils across the state continues.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, has called for the partnership and collaboration of the three tiers of government in identifying and addressing the challenges facing the nation. Vice President Oshibanjo made the call while declaring open the 18th Joint Planning Board and National Council on Development Planning meeting held in Asaba, the state capital. Government House correspondent Miriam Weke fired on the report presented from our studio.
Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo stated that synergy among federal, state and local governments was imperative so that citizens could be productively engaged and lifted out of poverty. He also urged states in the country to improve tax administration and widen tax nets to make it easier for people to pay taxes for growth and development. The Vice President commending the organizers for the theme of the meeting, State Fiscal Sustainability and Economic Diversification in Nigeria, said it was timely at the core of governance at all levels. He noted that over the years, the level of funding at the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, has fluctuated, stressing that federal revenue, including annual internally generated revenue of states, cannot meet the needed development in the states. The Vice President stated that for states to overcome these fiscal challenges, states should engage in fiscal strategic planning and identify areas they have comparative advantages. For his part, the state governor, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, said it was imperative for state chief executives to imbibe the culture of fiscal discipline, pointing out that without such, there could be no fiscal sustainability. Governor Okowa noted that observation of fiscal rules was the first step to achieving fiscal sustainability, adding that annual budgets of states must be derived from the fiscal strategy paper in line with fiscal responsibility law. The governor identified the inability to diversify the economy away from oil to have precipitated the monoproduct economic and fiscal structure in the country.
As a major oil producing state, oil and gas has for decades been the mainstay of the Delta state economy. However, that is changing with our job creation schemes. You can't create jobs without successful businesses. So the focus of the scheme is to put resources, skills, tools, and complementary services in the hands of unemployed graduates and secondary school leavers, and then equip them to start their own businesses.
Over 800 delegates and participants attended the 18th Joint Planning Board and the National Council for Developing Planning meeting.
The Delta State Civil Service Commission has concluded arrangements to conduct the last phase of interview to convert 7 civil servants in the civil service who passed Administrative Staff College of Nigeria ASCON Public Service Examination in 2019. The interview will hold on Thursday, October 17, 2019 at 9 o'clock in the morning. A statement by the Director of Information, Mr. Paul Osao, says the venue for the interview is the Civil Service Commission Asaba for officers who were recommended by the panel of assessors set up by the Civil Service Commission. The statement further stated that all 7 civil servants who appeared before the panel of assessors are advised to check for their names at the Civil Service Commission New Secretariat Complex 1 and 2 if they were recommended by the panel of assessors for the initial interview at the Civil Service Commission. It adds that officers concerned are requested to appear for the interview with the original copies of their letters of first appointment, confirmation, last promotion, letter of approval for study, if any, staff identity cards, local governments of origin, as well as any other document which will assist the panel to determine their suitability or otherwise for the desired transfer. The State Governor, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, has reconstituted the board of Delta State Personnel Group. According to the statements are Mrs. Philomena Ededi, Chief Lina Asuye Eni, and Mr. Paul Kurube. A 35 million naira worth cluster of 10 greenhouses for vegetable farming World Bank counterpart sponsored projects in the state has been commissioned. Staff correspondent Miriam Weke reports that the State Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Mr. Julius Egedi, commissioned the project on behalf of the Delta State government at Ukalokbono in Oshimile North local government area of the state. The reports.
Mr. Egbedi disclosed that the project, a cluster of greenhouses for vegetable farming by Fadama Users Group, is the first of its kind in the state and a sub-project of the State for Employment and Expenditure for Results C4. Mr. Egbedi noted that the project is a novel one that will revolutionize agriculture in the state. The Agricultural Commissioner thanked the donor agencies and charged the people of the community to protect the project, adding that smooth and sustainable management of the facilities is the key to attracting further intervention from government and development partners.
The Delta State government, in pursuing prosperity for all Deltans through the smart agenda of this administration, special emphasis will continue to be placed on the development of our rural communities and people.
Earlier, the Partner Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Austin Ogoro, disclosed that the project cost a total of 35 million naira to execute and that the greenhouses were expected to support the production of vegetables, adding that the first cycle started with pepper production. Permanent Secretary, while commending C4 and Fadama for the project, said it will aid agricultural development, food security, and increase income of rural farmers in line with the development focus of the state government. The council chairman, Chief Louis Ndukwe, and other community leaders in their various remarks thanked the World Bank and the state government for attracting such a project to the rural community to boost agricultural production. Responding on behalf of the beneficiaries, Mr. Anthony Ejiofor thanked the state government, C4 and Fadama for the gesture while pledging their commitment to growing the project in the nearest future.
The greenhouses with the power generating set, as you can find there, as well as the borehole and its accessories, is expected to support the production of vegetables.
The high point of the event was the commissioning of the 10 greenhouses by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Mr. Julius Ekbeji.
As part of measures to strengthen the education sector in Delta states, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa Friday redeemed his promise to reward hard work when he presented vehicles to the principal and the best head teacher in the states. Governor Okowa charged recipients to continue to work hard, urged others to emulate them, and sustain the spirit of hard work at all times. The governor, represented by the secretary to the state government, Mr. Drtv, says the award of excellence, which commenced with Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT), was good as it will enable government to reward diligence, saying to win, other teachers and principals must work hard. Governor Okowa congratulated the recipients and wished the retiring principal, Mr. Fidelis Okafor, the best in his future. The Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Chief Patrick Uka, commended Governor Ifeanyi Okowa for rewarding hard work and thanked the Secretary to the state government who started the process of rewarding excellence. Chief Uka expressed happiness with the recipients and said it was always fulfilling to see hard work rewarded. The recipient, who was overwhelmed by the gifts, thanked Governor Okowa for identifying and rewarding hard work in the education sector. They noted that the success was achieved with the support of fellow teachers, students, and well-wishers, and appreciated all who contributed in one way or the other towards the achievement. They pledged to continue to work hard and urged other teachers and principals to put in their best at all times. Highlights of the ceremony was a presentation of the vehicles to GAC saloon cars to the awardees. The beneficiaries were Mr. Fidelis Okolafo, Principal, Otagobe Government School, Kwale, and Mrs. Doris Sedafe, Head Teacher, Agbarutu. Today is International Day of the Girl Child. It is a day set aside by the United Nations organization to empower women and help them to get their rights so that they can face the challenges all over the world and meet their needs. It is also aimed at spreading awareness about eliminating gender abnormalities against girls around the world. The day was first marked in 2012. The theme of this year's International Day of the Girl Child is Girl Force Unscripted and Unstopped. The Delta State government says it would ensure that internally displaced persons, IDPs, in camps across the states are well catered for. The Commissioner, Bureau for Special Duties and co-chairman of the 2019 Flood Management Committee, Mr. Mufepira, gave this assurance when he, alongside the Commissioner for Special Duties Government House, Dr. Henry Sakura, inspected facilities at some IDP camps in Patani, Ozoro, Ashaka, and Kwale. Mr. Pira says the essence of the visit was to inspect facilities on the ground in the various IDP camps and to get first-hand information on the status of the internally displaced persons with a view to address any challenge that might be observed. At S.O. Olutu camp along the Ugeli Patani road, Mr. Pira says he was pleased with the facilities at the camp and said there would be need to create another camp from the existing one as the first camp was gradually becoming overpopulated. He called on the State Emergency Management Agency SEMA officials in the camp to ensure that they devise a means to identify impersonators, as some of the persons who claim to be displaced persons were not. The co-chairman of the 2019 Flood Management Committee and his team also visited Ozoro IDP camp at the Skills Acquisition Center, the one at Kwale in Otagobe Technical College, Kwale, where he also expressed his satisfaction with the facilities in the camp and admonished the SEMA officials to be diligent in their duties. Mr. Pira and his team were also at Abari community in Patani local governments to ascertain the flood situation, where he enjoined the people to be calm as the state government would quickly mobilize relief materials to them and set up a camp there. Speaking also during the visit, the Commissioner Special Duties Government House, Dr. Henry Sapra, who also is the Chairman Subcommittee on Transport and Electricity of the 2019 Flood Management Committee, assured the IDPs that the state government would do everything possible to mitigate their challenges. Dr. Sapra said the Subcommittee on Transport and Electricity had ensured that relief materials allocated to the various camps were dispatched on time, and steps had been taken to ensure security in the camps. Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, says that a total of 524 road projects were ongoing in different geopolitical zones in the country. Mr. Fashola said this while addressing the House of Representatives Committee on Works chaired by Ahmed Brichi in Abuja. The minister said there were 4 multilateral funded road projects, 81 under the Presidential Infrastructural Development Fund and 45 others being funded under the Sukuk bond. He says that the ministry was focusing on routes that open up the economy and contribute to the ease of doing business. He added that Nigeria would be back on its feet if governments could ensure that there was no failure on routes that stretch from ports to border cities. He added that a funding gap of 255 billion naira was required to ideally fund some of the major routes, and stressed that the 157 billion naira in the 2020 budget allocation was inadequate. Mr. Fashola says that 293 billion naira was pending in unpaid certificates under the multilateral funded projects, while 306 billion naira was the amount for unpaid certificates for completed road projects. Now to business news. About 392,000 businesses have benefited from the micro, small and medium enterprises clinics of the federal government as part of strategies of the present administration to make it easier to do business in the country. The Ministry for Industry, Trade and Investment, Ambassador Miriam Katigu, made this known in Abuja in a goodwill message at the first international conference of Faculty of Management Science of the National Open University of Nigeria with the theme Entrepreneurship, Strategic Leadership and Sustainable Development in Emerging Economies. According to the minister, moves through the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Clinic, another strategy of the current administration to make it easier to do business in Nigeria. So far, over 392,000 businesses have benefited from the MSMEs clinics. She says the President Buhari-led administration through the ministry was working proactively to improve the ease of doing business by developing and implementing more pro-market policies and make the entire business environment more suitable and attractive to investors. The minister explains that one of such policies of government is the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which was designed to diversify the economy, restore economic growth, create jobs, empower the youth, develop human capital and infrastructure, improve business environments, and bring about technological development. The police in A Division Warri have declared a 7-year-old boy, Emmanuel Money, missing. A police extract from the division says 7-year-old Emmanuel Money left home with his mother to Warri City Stadium on October 1, 2019 to observe Independence Day ceremony. The police extract adds that along the line, little Emmanuel's whereabouts became unknown. The police has therefore asked anyone with information on how to locate 7-year-old Emmanuel Money to visit the A Division Police Station or the nearest police station. And now to sports. Joe Aribo and Ramon Aziz are in contention to replace Ogene Caro Itabo in the starting lineup for Nigeria against Brazil on Sunday. Itabo, who plays for Championship club Stoke City, pulled out of the highly anticipated game on Thursday, with Leicester City midfielder Wilfred Ndidi and Everton's Alex Iwobi already assured of a place in the starting lineup. Head coach of the team, Gernot Rohr, is yet to make up his mind on who will join the duo in midfield. There is still concern over fitness following the head injury he picked in a League Cup game against Livingston 3 weeks ago. As is in the team following a 5-year absence, he has been a key performer for Grand in the Spanish League this season. And now to the foreign scene. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been awarded the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize. Prime Minister Ahmed was named as the winner of the 100 Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. He was awarded a prize for his efforts to achieve peace and international cooperation. A total of 301 candidates, including 223 individuals and 78 organizations, were nominated for the prestigious award. There has been great speculation over who would win the prize. Under the Nobel Foundation's rule, nominations shortlisted are not allowed to be published for 50 years. An Australian man has been jailed for kidnapping a child from a shopping center and molesting her in remote Scotland. Brisbane District Court Judge Julian Dick jailed Stellan free for a maximum of 8 years, a sentence which has drawn controversy. Judge Dick said Free's abduction of the girl from a tall hour was chilling, optimistic and predatory. She stopped short of legally classifying him as a serious violence offender, meaning Free will be eligible for parole in 2021. Australian Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton said the sentence was grossly inadequate and called on Queensland state lawmakers to intervene. Stellan Free, 27, lured the 7-year-old girl out of a store in Brisbane last December. He drove her to an isolated place where he sexually assaulted her before returning her about an hour later. An explosion has caused a fire in an Iranian tanker near the coast of Saudi Arabia. The vessel from Iran's national oil company was 60 miles from the Saudi port city of Jeddah. The ship's 2 main storage tanks are said to have been damaged, causing an oil spill in the Red Sea, but no one was injured, and the spill is said to have been contained. Iran's national tanker company says the fire had been put out and the oil spill reduced to a minimum. Iranian TV identified the ship as the oil tanker. The maritime vessel tracking firm Tanker Tracker said the tanker was regularly used to ferry oil to the Syrian government despite international sanctions. A source of maritime analysis firm Windward told the media it was common for NIC ships to turn off the automatic identification system trackers to avoid detection of offense, evading international sanctions or harassment from Saudi Arabia. Because of regulations, such vessels must turn their AIS back and close to the Suez Canal. The Windward source says Simophia was behaving unusually because it switched its AIS back on 3 days ago, hundreds of miles from the area. After being dark for more than 50 days, it lasted transmitted while in the Gulf. The incident came amid heightened tension between Iran and Saudi Arabia. A man has confessed to an attack on a synagogue in Germany in which 2 people died and admitted a far-reach anti-Semitic move during a hearing with an investigating judge. Stephen Ballet, 27, spent several hours giving evidence before a federal court judge about the attack in the eastern city. He was arrested on Wednesday after a 40-year-old woman was shot dead in front of the synagogue. A man aged 20 was also fatally shot. He was attacked inside a kava shop after the gunman tried unsuccessfully to storm the synagogue, firing on the door several times. United States President Donald Trump says he hopes he can mediate between Turkey and the Kurds following an offensive on U.S. allied Kurds in northeast Syria. President Trump says the United States has three options, which are to send in thousands of troops and win militarily, hit Turkey very hard financially and with sanctions, or mediate a deal between Turkey and the Kurds. He called the Turkish assault a bad idea, saying he did not endorse it and threatened to devastate the NATO's ally economy if Ankara's inclusion into Syria wipes out Kurdish population there. President Trump ordered the pullback after a phone call with Turkish President Erdogan, promoting rare criticism from senior figures in his own Republican Party who accuse him of deserting loyal U.S. allies, the Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, led by Kurdish YPD militia. The SDF have been the main allies of U.S. forces on the ground in the battle against the Islamic State since 2014. The Nigerian Football Federation have denied claim it is owing Super Eagles head coach Ganatrol 3 months' salary. Veteran journalist Osasu had tweeted on Thursday that the Franco-German had been paid in 3 months. The NFF, in a series of tweets on Thursday afternoon, also provided updates on the resignation of Thomas from his post as Super Falcons head coach. Roy and the Super Eagles are presently in Singapore, where they will play 5-time world champions Brazil in a friendly on Sunday at the Singapore National Stadium. And that's the size of our bulletin, but before we go, a recap. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, has called for the partnership and collaboration of the three tiers of government and identifying and addressing the challenges facing the nation. Vice President Oshibanjo made the call while declaring open the 18th Joint Planning Board and National Council on Development Planning meeting held in Sabah State capital. We also told you that the chairman of Delta State Local Government Service Commission, Dr. Joseph Ture, says effective service delivery is the key for a viral and functional local government system. Dr. Ture, who said this during its familiarization tour to Ope, Saple, and Uwe local government areas, urged council staff to be committed to their duties so that those at the grassroots will feel their impact. And that's the size of our bulletins and the entire crew. I am Ifoma Nkemacha. Good night.